Hi everyone, this is my favorite monthly video and I will show you everything I was working on March. For obvious reasons, I had a lot of free time to color in March, but in the same time, in the beginning of self-isolation, I was nervous, I was afraid, I was frightened. So I didn't want to color at all. I didn't have any inspiration. So for a couple of days I hadn't touched my coloring books, but still I had a lot of happy moments in March. So let's talk about good things. Probably the happiest moment was when I received this book by Selina Fenech, book which she created in order to support animals and nature of Australia, and I was so happy to get this book. I was so inspired that in March I did 3 pictures here, and I will continue to color it in April and probably during the whole year. First of all, I enjoyed learning about new animals and plants. I must confess that through all the animals which were mentioned, I have heard probably about 5 of them or something like this. So a lot of things to learn. It wasn't very easy to color, you know that paper in Selena's book are not so perfect, but I managed to color with my Prismacolors, with my Arteza, but the best result was with polychromasis. After I did Goanna with Prismacolors, on my gray-headed flying foxes I switched to polychromasis. Here I am very happy with berries and with fruit bats, but not so happy with the background. And on the last finished picture on bilbies, as they are nocturnal, I decided to do dark blue background. And maybe it was my mistake that I hadn't colored background using acrylic paints. I spent huge amount of time trying to cover paper using Arteza first, then using Prismacolors, and then all other available mediums. But at least here I am happy with my moon and with very tender ears of bilbies. I think that they are extremely cute, with their tender pink skin visible through their fur. And again, I was very happy to learn about these cute creatures. If you haven't seen, Selena published koala picture and also picture of group of small animals as freebie pictures. So I definitely plan to color at least koala in April, so anyone can go to Selena's site and download those pictures for free. Also, I think that now book will be also available on Book Depository because previously it was available only on Amazon. In March, I did my first picture in Norse mythology and I love this book so much. You may laugh at me, but I will say again that I was happy to learn new things. I've never heard about the god I decided to color, so I read about him and about his place in Norse mythology, and it also was interesting. Paper in the book of medium quality, and here I used mix of pencils. I used Prismacolors, a little bit of polychromasis and a little bit of paint to mask black lines, but for me it was okay. I didn't have problems, especially after I used my Derwent burnisher to smooth and to cover white spots on the paper, and I can't wait to do next project. I have in mind couple of pictures, so we will see what I will select for April. Most of all here I enjoyed coloring golden elements. I wasn't sure how to color skin and what colors to select for the clothes, but at least with golden elements I felt myself much more confident. And as Heimdall is famous for his golden horn, I really tried to make it as a focal point of the whole picture. After Heimdall, I continued mythology theme in my coloring and I switched to my new book by Martin Noble, Goddesses. First, I decided to do one picture and I decided to proceed going with Norse mythology, so Freya was my obvious choice. I think that I selected this page because I wanted to color her blue cats. I'm not sure that I like her style of her clothes here. For me, they are more like Japanese, but all other elements are amazing. I try to show here difference between Earth and between celestial area which surrounds Freya, so she is going to the Earth, and of course I liked to color blue cats, even if it was unusual to do blue fur, but I liked it. Mostly I used polychromoses, they laid down on this paper really well, but for pastel colors I also used couple of Prismacolors. And probably its pencil combo, brand combo, which I plan to use throughout the whole book. Polychromoses as the main medium and Prismacolors for some unique colors. But when I finished this one, I immediately started second page from the same book, and it's because I remembered that in my Arteza set of pencils I have beautiful blue color, which is called Egyptian blue. It was perfect match for picture of Egyptian goddess Best, but here I made a mistake when I decided to try using paint for the background. I can't say that I was totally happy. Paint didn't bleed through, but I spent so many time coloring background with my small brush that I think that I will be spending much easier time by coloring the whole background with polychromos dark blue pencils. For the area of hieroglyphs, I used Prismacolors because they have beautiful yellow and beige colors suitable to do the sandstone. And the most complicated part was to color her legs. But overall, I immensely enjoyed coloring in this book. Next project I made in spring scenes, which I also got in February, so it's new for me. You know how much I love Teresa Goodrich and how much I always inspired by her pictures. So in March I did 4 pages here. This one is my recent work. On the sky and on the grass I put a very light underpaint using watercolors, and then on everything else I worked with Prismacolors. Of course, I used a lot of Posca marker to make my daffodils very bright and in the same time very tender. For all other pages which I finished in this book, I used Prismacolors. It was probably my first time of coloring sheep, and it was interesting to color her wool. And also I like a red barn. I always liked them when I saw them in some American movies. Next picture haven't inspired me at all when I got the book. But then I realized that picture can be a very good practice of how to create a well-balanced color composition and how to try and to use limited amount of colors when you have page with multiple various objects. I tried to make matching pairs of colors and in this way to create a well-balanced color composition and also to have picture with small projects which I was able to finish in couple of minutes. It was very nice when I didn't have any inspiration for coloring in the beginning of my self-isolation. This greenhouse was my first started picture in this book. I wanted to play on the difference between cold green color, which I selected for the bench and for the greenhouse, and yellow-green colors of the grass, trees and bushes. But it was very risky. In the middle of my coloring, I was afraid that green colors will be totally mixed and greenhouse will be lost. Also, it's very detailed, so I needed somehow to attract more attention to the forefront with multiple flowers. So coloring was complicated, but in the end I like the result. Probably if I would color greenhouse with blue walls, it would look better, but it was my learning process. And final picture which I did in this book, I selected mostly because I like gardening and I like daffodils. They are one of my favorite spring flowers. This one was quite easy coloring, even if in the beginning I planned to do only one type of tulips and in the end I finished with three ways of coloring them. I really was very happy every moment when I colored in spring scenes. I also started my country charm, which I finally received. But here I have my unfinished work. It's my work in progress. I am currently working on it. I am glad that in March I worked in my slightly forgotten botanical book by Maria Trolle. You probably know that Maria Trolle isn't easy artist for me and I struggle on each page which I try to color. As my first project I selected this very peaceful and romantic scene mostly because I wanted to color roses. I hope that they are roses or maybe they are peonies. Anyway, I enjoyed coloring those pink and yellow flowers. It was a little bit difficult not to lose a very cute fat bee on the green leaves, but after I added it bright blue wings, at least now it's visible. And I like to do blue birds. I think that they are cute. As usual, I had difficulties with inventing something creative for the background, so in the end I simply filled in all spaces between leaves and flowers with two shades of green, and it was my very simple, very primitive background. Next page I selected because I wanted to create impression of the wreath laying on the or hanging on the wooden surface, and everything here I colored with Prismacolor with polychromasis, and I used only a couple of Prismacolors for the background. And as usual, I had a lot of problems during coloring picture in Maria Trolle book. I don't know why, but I never had easy way with her pictures. First, I had problems with berries. I colored them in yellow and orange and then I outlined them with white trying to mask black lines and it looked horrible. Next I did these green brown leaves and I didn't like them at all, so I managed to make better leaves using cream and green colors, so the rest of the leaves are more good looking. And finally, I wasn't able to find any creative idea for some kind of strange grass, or maybe they are small mm, pine tree branches. So for those strange elements, and I added a little bit of violet to them, and I'm not very happy how they look. I think that probably on this dress I love my red berries, I love my white yellow flowers, and I love pale green leaves. And I like the background. Anything else isn't so good. At least it was good that on paper in Botanicum book I have Swedish edition. So in this book I was able to work with Prismacolors and with polychromoses, and all pencil brands behave very well. Another page where I enjoyed coloring with polychromoses was from College art book. Here I made picture with my favorite bright colors. Everything is very joyful, very vivid, and I did it in the beginning of March when I made so many plans for the future months. Well, okay, I think that I selected this picture because design was inspired by one of my favorite artists, Alphonse Mucha. Again, I try to limit myself not to use the whole palette of polychromoses, and in the end the page look like it's based on basic three colors: yellow, blue and red, with some variations of colors. Here I am happy how I managed to color golden parts, and girl's skin is also nice in real life, but probably not very nice while I try to film it. For the background, to create the effect of the old paper, I used Prismacolors. And if you like this picture, you can follow my Kolorowanka on my channel. It's pity that college art book is unavailable from Amazon or Book Depository. It's so beautiful, so let's hope that Dover Publishing will decide to make second edition. Next book I was working on is my Manuel de Bonheur. I had one picture here started in February, so in the beginning of March I finished this dressing room of Victorian lady. Most of all, here I like my wallpapers made with blue and beige. The wardrobe is also not so bad. My idea of this picture was that on the background inside the wardrobe, the bunny lady has her everyday clothes, and now she is trying to select something for important evening. So all dresses on the forefront are much brighter. I can't say that now I am very happy with the selection of this bright pink, but I really was afraid that so many dresses will be mixed together, and I wanted to attract more attention to the bunny herself and to those two dresses which are closer to us. As usual, I liked to work with my Prismacolors on this paper. They layered so well. Another project from the manual is this huge Japanese spread. And I managed to finish coloring water here. I colored fans and I started to color geese. Also I added background, sky and a little bit of grass. But still I have a lot of work ahead of me. I hope to finish this page in April. I have another whip here, but it's only a beginning. And finally, let me show you my pretty pirate Polly. I promised to do at least one page in this book of Jasmine Beckett Griffith each month, and in March I maintained my promise. So here is my Polly, and when I got the book I immediately knew that for Polly I want to try green color of her hair, and Finally, I did it. I think that green hair suits her. Or maybe she wanted to be a mermaid when she was a young, tender girl, but now she is a pirate, and I like how determined and self confident she is. My biggest problem was color choice for her clothes. I did background, ocean, I did her hair, and I realized that apart of blue and green, I needed some bright spots. Then I consulted my private art advisor, who is my father, and we decided that blue brown for the clothes with bright red elements will suit her quite nice. Usually I don't like to add makeup to my girls, but here I added a little bit of eyeshadows to my Polly. I really like how she turned out. I'm happy that I maintained my promise to do at least one page in this book. And as usual, coloring process was very easy because paper is amazing. I use Prismacolors in this book and I plan to finish the whole book with Prismacolors. In March, I also tried to color for the first time on the toned paper. Design is by any coloring. Yesterday I published video about PDF coloring books by this artist. I selected for myself two girls. For me they are very inspiring and I already colored first of them. I enjoyed coloring here with various pencils brand, but most of all I like how light colors are shining on this toned paper. Now let me show you my small art purchases. Before the lockdown started, I managed to purchase a couple of sheets of toned paper to test how my printer will behave and it, would it be possible to print. I am very happy with quality of printing and now I just need to wait until my local art store will be opened again. I also purchased couple of tubes of pastel acrylic colors, one of them especially for coloring skin. All paints are by Ukrainian manufacturer. They are cheap but good. I am very happy with these paints. They are creamy, they have nice selection of colors. And I also was able to find new pastel colors from White Night watercolors. I didn't find the whole palette of pastel colors, but at least I managed to purchase several of them, and I made a special video dedicated to these interesting colors. And finally, let's talk about plans. I hope that April, despite all the bad things which are happening now around me, because everyday situation in Ukraine going worse with all those uh, ill cases, but I hope that I will be able to color many pictures to calm myself and to entertain you. So I know that I will be coloring in college art, I will be coloring in daydreams, I definitely will be coloring in Australian animals. I need to finish page in gnomes in the neighborhood, which I started a couple of days ago. I think that I will finish it today. I have selection of other books which I promised to color for my patrons or where I have amazing spring pictures. I also hope to proceed coloring in Norse mythology. I want to start coloring in my Asian book and I hope that I will be able to color in some of my loved but a little bit abandoned books like this book of Josephine Wall. I wish you all to stay safe, to stay positive and optimistic during this hard time, and I wish the same things to me to be optimistic, to be calm, and to color more. In case you have missed, today I also published video about what other things keep me entertained and occupied during my self-isolation. Here I talk a little bit about my cross-stitching, about my learning, so if you're interested, you can see my other video. As usual, huge thanks to everyone who left me supporting comments under my videos. In March, YouTube went a little bit crazy, so some comments I received on my email, some comments popped up on my screen, some comments were visible only on my Creative Studio, so I was a little bit lost. And I'm sorry if I hadn't answered your questions. It was some problems with receiving comments from YouTube. Thanks to everyone who supported my channel by using my affiliate links to Book Depository and to Amazon. And of course, huge thanks goes to my amazing patrons who stayed with me despite this difficult time, difficult for everyone, so I really appreciate your support.